Welcome to another Tech Help video brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I'm your instructor, Richard Rost. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to calculate the next payment date for something that you know is due on a specific day every month. Whether it's a credit card payment or your electric bill or the day you get paid on, who knows? If it's a bill or something that happens on a specific day of the month, like the 28th or the 15th of the month, based on today's date, I'll show you how to calculate the next one. Today's question comes from Fiona in Duluth, Georgia, one of my platinum members. Fiona says, I'm building a database to track my credit cards. I like to leave a little balance on each of my cards on the date that they are reported to the credit bureau so that they see activity and not just a zero balance every month. If I know that a card is reported on, say, the 20th of the month, how can I display that to show the next reporting date? So if it's currently December 30th, I want it to show January 20th. This would also be helpful for finding your next payment date. So if your bill is always due on the 17th of the month and today is the 13th, you know you have 4 days left. If today is the 20th, you know you've got until next month. I'm using Excel for now, but it would be nice to have this in my database. Yes, absolutely, Fiona, we can calculate this with either a query or a little piece of VBA code. We can make our own function. Now that's why I tagged this as both an expert and a developer class, because for me personally, I've been programming since I was a kid. So I think in VB code. So I think it's easier for something like this to write the VBA code first. And then if you need it in a query or directly in a form, backtrack and put it into a query format. And I'm going to show you both, but we're going to start with the VB code. And if you still don't quite get what this means, here's an example right here. Let's say today is the 21st of December. ISO dates, of course. And if your electric bill is always due on the 24th of the month, right? Your next date's going to be December 24th because today is 21st, okay? Just like the phone bill is due on the 28th of the month, right? You got 7 days. You got till the 28th. But if your mortgage is due on the 1st, then you got to upgrade that to January 1st, right? You got to move it ahead. What's the next first day of the month? What's the next 15th day of the month? That's next month. So this is what we're going to calculate in today's video. All right, before we get started, let's talk about some prerequisites. If you haven't watched any of this stuff, it's on my YouTube channel. It's on my website. It's free. Go watch this first. First up is my year, month, day video. It teaches you how to break up a date into its constituent parts, right? Year, month, day. Next up is date serial. Date serial goes the opposite direction. If you have the constituent parts, you can build a valid date field. So if you've got the year, the month, and a day, you can put those together to make a date. We're going to go both ways in this video. If you want to learn how to do this in a query or a form or a report directly, learn the if function. It's called the immediate if function. It's basically an if-then statement inside of a function. But if you want to learn the VBA method, which I personally prefer, then go watch my intro to VBA class. If you've never done any VBA before, it's about 20 minutes long. Don't be scared. VBA is real easy to learn, especially when I'm teaching it, right? And then go watch my if-then video to teach you how if-then statements work, which is the same thing as the if function, just written differently, like this. Also, go watch my create a function video where I teach you how to make your own function. So you can send it some stuff, it'll do something to it and send you back a value. And if you're curious what this ISO date format that I use is, go watch this video. I'm on a mission to get everyone to switch to ISO dates everywhere. These are all free videos. They're on my YouTube channel. They're on my website. Go watch them and come on back. All right, so let's say we got a little table. Let's create a little table real quick. So create table design. All right, I got my bill ID. And this, again, this works with credit cards or bills or whatever, as long as it's something that you know gets paid on the same date every month, the 13th or the 18th or whatever, okay? That'll be our auto number. We'll call it the bill name. I feel like I'm in Congress, right? Here's my bill. And I'm going to call it the due day, not the due date, all right? The day of the month. And this will be a number of type long integer. If you want to put validation rule down here, right, this has to be greater than or equal to 1 and less than or equal to 31, just like that. All right, I'll save this as my bill T. All righty. Let's put some sample data in here. We got the electric, which is due on the 15th. We got the gas, which is due on the 3rd. What's today's date? Today's actually December 22nd. So let's do some stuff in the future here. Let's do the car payment, which is due on the 25th. And I don't know, the mortgage, which is due mortgage, which is due on the 1st. And one more. Let's do your $5.99 CD membership, which is due on the 31st. How's that sound? We don't call it that anymore. Let's call it the Tech Help Gold membership. Okay, anyways. Now, like I said, I think in VB code, so I'm going to write this first as a VB function. So those of you who are not VB programmers, just follow along and just let it go in one ear and out the other if you want to, but I want you to just be exposed to it to see how easy this stuff is. Okay, and then when I'm done writing this, we're going to backward write it into a query. All right, I'm just showing you how my brain thinks, okay? So let's go down to our global module, which if you don't have one, add one. Okay, resize that so it fits. Okay, so here we're going to write a public function, and we're going to call this next monthly date. All right, I'm going to send into it a day of the month as a long, and it's going to return a date value as date. Okay? Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, you're sending me a number, like 15. Is that number greater than or equal to the day value of today's date? Right? So if day of month is greater than or equal to whatever today's date is, day of date. So today's December 22nd. So this is going to be a 22. Okay? So is the day of month, right, that I send into it greater than or equal to that number? If that's the case, all right, then we're going to put some comments in here, right? If the day is today or after, it's going to be this month. Okay, so if the day you send it is today or after, and you can change this, by the way. If you want it to be, it has to be in the future, just get rid of the equal sign. All right, so if, let's say you're assuming today's date is already gone, if today is the 22nd and you send it at 22 and you want next month, just get rid of that equal sign. But I'm saying if it's today's date, show me today. Okay? So in this case, put together a date this month with whatever that day is that you send into it. So next monthly date equals date serial. This is where we build the date value back up. Okay? It's going to be year of today's date, comma, month of today's date, comma, the day of month, whatever you send into it, right? Today is 2023, December 22nd. So if I send in a 28, all right, 28 is greater than, or 22, excuse me, 28 is greater than or equal to today's date, which is the 22nd. So we're going to get 2023, December 28 is the one you're sending in. Okay? Now, if that's not the case, we got to go plus a month. Else, otherwise, it's going to be next month. So, I'm just going to copy this one up here. And then we're going to add a month to it. Where do we add the month? Right there. Make sure you don't put it in here, because that's going to add one to the date first and then find the month of it. You want to put it there. Okay, end if. And that's the end of your function. Now you're probably thinking, well, what happens if the day you send into it's like the 31st and it happens to fall on January and next month's February? There is no February 31st. Well, that's one of the nice things about date serial, is date serial automatically takes that into consideration. And we'll see some examples in just a minute. All right, let's give it a shot. Let's save it. Yes, let's test it. Come out and make a query. Create. Query design. And we can bring in our build T and then close all this stuff up. All right, bring in all these guys, and now we'll use our function. All right, our function name is next monthly date. So I can use that function. It's the beauty of writing functions. You can use them in your queries and in your forms and everywhere in your database. Right? So let's go ND for next date is whatever, is next monthly date of due day. We're going to send it. And then we'll run it, and there's our data. And again, today is the 22nd of December, so 22nd. So a 15 gives you next month, a 3 gives you next month, a 25 should give you this month, right? The 1st and then the 31st. And then all was working just fine. All right, let's save this as my bill Q. Now, if you want to test it with like February, okay, we can cheat. We can go into our function here. We can set a target date in here, right? So we could say dim, let's call it T as a date. All right, and we'll say T equals, instead of saying today's date, okay, we'll put a target date in here. Let's say today is actually January. Yeah, January 22nd of 2023. Okay. And I know I'm using ISO dates, but in VB, it actually still likes this format. I got a beef with Microsoft over this. I'm working on it. Okay. But now everywhere you see this T, just a date down here, just replace it with the T. All right. And so now the function will think that today is January 22nd, 2023. And we can test our code, right, with a different date. And then we'll come up here. And then you might have to rerun the query. Let's see. Where is it? Where are you? Right there. Open it up. Boom. Okay, that looks good. Now, let's test it for February, though, because January, if today's the 22nd, January does have a 31st. So let's test it now. Let's say today is February 22nd. Let's see what happens. All right, there you go. See, that 31st got pushed to March. Right? The 1st worked fine. February 1st went to March 1st just fine. All right, if today's February 22nd, it's going to March 1st. February 25th, February 25th. February 31st, it doesn't exist, so it moved it ahead to March 3rd. All right, now again, this is completely dependent upon how your credit card company, your bank, whatever, right, your mortgage company, how they calculate it. You know, they might say that, okay, if your due date is the 31st and it's fallen into February, you've got to pay it on the 28th. So you check with them first. But I've found most places that have due dates, they try not to make them on 29, 30, 31st just for this reason. It's usually, due dates are usually like 28th and before. At least all of mine have been for my entire life. And if not, I call and switch it. So that's up to you. All right, so the code is good. I am going to go now and switch this back to, let's make T equals today's date. And I'll leave this like this in the code. So you can set a target date if you want to for testing purposes. All right, now I promised you I'd show you how to write this in query format using the if function. Okay, and we'll just do that down here. Okay, I am going to say, and we'll just call it X for the purposes now, because it's going to look like this. It's going to be X colon, right? So I'll just say X equals for down here. All right, we have to use the if function. So if, open parentheses, what's our condition? Well, that's this. There's our condition right there. All right, comma, value if true is going to be this right there, comma, value if false is going to be this whole thing. And then put that there. Okay, let me slide this over so you can see the whole thing. So that would be your query function right there. And you can see how that's not quite as easy to understand or to read or to write as this was. I think VBA is much more intuitive than trying to do this in a query. But now that we have this, I can just take this, right? I cut it out. We can get it out of here. And now if you want to put that directly in a query, you can. Let's just stick it in here, design view. I'll go to the next field over. I'll say X colon and then put that thing in there. And now, of course, we don't have a T, so you got to replace all these T's with date. All right? Date, or make a query column called T if you want to. All right? And all those dates should get replaced with the date function. All right? That's my zoom box. Hit OK. And let's give it a run. And, oh, day of month. Hang on. Yep, day of month. I don't have day of month either. All right, so day of month, that's my due day field, because we sent that into the function as a parameter, right? So I got to replace day of month with due day. That's my bad. All right, due day. Got to put that here, and here, and there. Okay, I think that should do it. Let's see. Run it now. Nope, date. Oh, date. Okay, one more thing. It needs to be date like this. because it's a date function, and queries don't often get that. So we got to replace this with date. I should have did that up front. I should have caught that originally. But sometimes it lets you get away with it. You type it in the first time, sometimes you can get away. Okay, now let's try. Third time's a charm. There we go. You should get the same results. This column should be the same as that column. Okay, but again, as you can see, once again, this is a whole lot less intuitive than that. I think this is easier to read. This is easier to write. This is why I preach learning VBA code. And how do you learn VBA code? Well, you take my developer courses, by the way. You start from Developer 1 and you work your way up through and you learn how to program in VBA. And you'll be an awesome expert just like me. And also, if you want to learn more about dates and times, I've got a couple of courses, specifically Access Expert Level 27 and 28, that you might find interesting. This is my comprehensive guide to Access functions, where I go through all the functions, datetime functions, string functions, logical functions, trigonometric functions, all the functions. Well, Expert 27 is datetime part 1, and then there's Expert Level 28, which is datetime part 2. We go through all the different date functions in order, and I teach you all kinds of cool things about them. And also, if you literally just want to learn about dates and times, I've got this thing called the Access Date Time Seminar, where we go through all this different cool stuff, right? Calculating the net work days, because Excel has a net work days function, but Access doesn't. I teach you how to do that. How to create a holiday exclusion table. So if you want to figure out the number of work days between December 20th and January 15th, but you also want to give people off for Christmas and New Year's, I'll show you how to figure that out. All kinds of stuff in this seminar. And a lot of people say to me, I get a lot of emails like, why should I buy your courses when you just teach everything on YouTube with these tech help videos? Well, I do, and I love doing it. I love giving my knowledge away for free on YouTube and teaching people stuff. But in my tech help videos, I just give you bits and pieces. We cover a specific topic, and we just tackle that problem. I answer that question. But my courses are set up to be a lot more comprehensive. So I teach you from beginning to end how to, logically progress from this to that. Whereas I don't have the time to do that in the tech help videos. The tech help videos is just, here's how we solve that problem. There you go. Right? Whereas my developer courses are designed to be, one after the other. How you learn in school. And that's how I design my lessons. So check it out if you're interested in learning more. Now, back to our query here. This works great, and it's beautiful, but what if you got some bills in here that don't have a specific due date, and you end up with that? Well, this function and this guy can't handle null values. So how do we handle null values? Well, we will cover that in the extended cut for the members. Now, hint, it's not just wrapping it in an isNull function. That's one way you could do it with the query version. It makes your query even longer and crazier. I'm going to show you how to handle it in the function itself. Okay, so that's going to be in the extended cut for the members. Silver members and up get access to all of my extended cut videos, not just this one, all of them. And gold members can download these databases that I build in the tech help videos, and everybody gets free classes. You get a free class, and you get a free class. All my members, silver level and up, get a free class every month. So check it out. You'll find links down below. But that is going to be your tech help video for today. I hope you learned something. Live long and prosper, my friends. I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and post any comments you may have below. I do try to read and answer all of them as soon as I can. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, which is completely free. Click the bell icon and select all to receive notifications when new videos are posted. Want to learn more? Click the Show More link below the video to find additional resources and links. YouTube does a pretty good job of hiding it. It's right down there. See this part of the description here, right? The name, the video's up here. There's a little Show More down there, right down the bottom. It's kind of hard to find. But once you click on that, you'll see a list of other videos, additional information related to the current topic, free lessons, and lots more. And YouTube no longer sends out email notifications when new videos are posted like they used to do. But if you'd like to get an email every time I post a new video, click on the link to join my mailing list. And you can pick how frequently to get emails from me, either as they happen, daily, weekly, or monthly. Now, if you'd like to become a paid member of my channel and receive all kinds of awesome perks, click on the Join button. You'll see a list of all the different membership levels that are available, each with its own special perks, including my extended cut videos, access to my code vault, lots of VBA source code in there, template downloads, and lots more. I'll talk more about these perks at the end of the video. Even if you don't want to commit to becoming a paid member and you'd like to help support my work, please feel free to click on the tip jar link. Your patronage is greatly appreciated and will help keep these free videos coming. I got some puppies to feed. But don't worry, no matter what, these free tech help videos are going to keep coming. As long as you keep watching them, I'll keep making more, and they'll always be free. Now, if you really want to learn Access and you haven't tried my free Access Level 1 course, check it out now. It covers all the basics of Microsoft Access, including building forms, queries, reports, and more. It's over 4 hours long. You can find it on my website or on my YouTube channel. I'll put a link down below you can click on. And did I mention it's completely free? The whole thing, free, 4 hours. Go watch it. And okay, a lot of you have told me that you don't have time to sit through a 4-hour course. So I do now have a quicker Microsoft Access for Beginners video that covers all the basics faster in about 30 minutes. And no, I didn't just put the video on fast forward. But I'll put a link to this down below as well. Now, if you like level 1, level 2 is just $1. That's it, $1. And that's another whole 90-minute course. Level 2 is also free for paid members of any level, including supporters. So if you're a member, go watch level 2. It's free. Okay, want to get your question answered in a video just like this one? Visit my tech help page and send me your question there. Members get priority, of course. While I do try to read and respond to all of the comments posted below in the comments section, I only have time to go through them briefly a couple of times a month, and sometimes I get thousands of them. So send me your question here on the tech help page, and you'll have a better chance of getting it answered. And while you're on my website, be sure to stop by my Access forum. We've got lots of lively conversations about Microsoft Access and other topics. I have a fantastic group of moderators who help me answer questions. Shout out to Alex, Kevin, Scott, Adam, John, Dan, Juan, and everybody else who helps out on the site. I appreciate everything you do. I couldn't do it without you. Be sure to follow my blog, find me on Twitter, and of course on YouTube. Yeah, I'm on Facebook too, but I don't like Facebook. Don't get me started. Now, let's talk more about those member perks if you do decide to join as a paid member. There are different levels: Silver, Gold, Platinum, and Diamond. Silver members and up get access to all of my extended cut tech help videos, one free beginner class every month, and some other perks. Gold members get all the previous perks, plus access to download the sample databases that I build in my tech help videos, plus access to my code vault where I keep tons of different functions that I use, the code that I build in most of the videos. You'll also get higher priority if you do submit any tech help questions. Now, answers are never guaranteed, but you do go higher in the list for me to read them. And if I like your question, you got a good chance of it being answered. You'll also get one free expert level class each month after you've finished the beginner series. Platinum members get all the previous perks plus even higher priority for tech help questions. You get access to all of my full beginner level courses for every subject. And I cover lots of different subjects like Word, Excel, VBA, ASP, lots of different stuff, not just Access. These are the full-length courses found on my website. You get all the beginner ones. In addition, once you finish the expert classes, you get one free developer class per month. So lots of training. And finally, you can also become a Diamond sponsor. You'll have your name or your company name listed on a sponsors page that will be shown on each video as long as you're a sponsor. You'll get a shout out in the video and a link to your website or product in the text below the video and on my website. So that's it. Once again, my name is Richard Rost. Thank you for watching this video brought to you by accesslearningzone.com. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something today. Live long and prosper, my friends. I'll see you again soon.